Good evening, and thank you for coming tonight. I want to take this special opportunity to thank Mr. and Mrs. Danny and Nancy Vines. Their hospitality extended to all of us this evening is phenomenal. During the course of this campaign, I have learned that Danny Vines is an exceptional gentleman, and we are blessed to have a man of his caliber in East Texas. He is a devout man of faith that has uniquely combined his devotion, business acumen, and love of people into a ministry. He is a thoughtful man on issues beyond the sector of energy. He reminds me of Abraham Lincoln's teaching. You do not help the poor by destroying the rich. You cannot strengthen the weak by weakening the strong. We do not bring about prosperity by discouraging thrift. You cannot lift the wage earner up by pulling the wage earner down. We do not further brotherhood by inciting hatred. Courage and character are not built on taking away the people's initiative and independence. Danny believes that God's condition of all men is a state of prosperity. Danny, we have a tough economic environment right now. But personally, I want to thank you for your American spirit, that tomorrow in America will always be better than today. Mr. Vines, thank you. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. There's some people I'll throw out some special recognitions. If you don't get one, don't go pick a check up or slash your tires. But I love all of you. Beyond who is up and who is down, campaigning is a humbling experience, and it reminds me daily of the goodness of America and her people. Chairman Bob Flournoy is a source of support and thoughtful counsel. And believe me, every day, Wayne Christian, he approaches our campaign with one great idea. I can expect one great idea a day out of Chairman Bob. Jim and Jen Ullman, have provided a lot of uplift and just a can-do attitude. My fellowship during this short period with Harold and Connie Estes has been a blessing to my soul. Connie has a distinction of saying the two most profound statements of this campaign. The very first time I met her was during the weekend of the passage of the so-called healthcare reform bill, which happened to be the same weekend of the Republican senatorial conventions in Texas. She made a beeline toward me during the Angelina County Convention and asked, as her state representative, would I vote to call out the Texas Rangers, and that's the law enforcement, to protect her when she decides not to buy government-mandated health insurance? Of course, I responded, absolutely. A few weeks later, we were driving through Lufkin in her vehicle at a breakneck speed, making some visits that she scheduled for our campaign, and she told me, James, this is your time. I looked at my watch, and then I turned to her, and again I said, absolutely. I came to this race as a Christian, an infantry officer, American government teacher, a basketball and football coach, and a small producer cattle rancher. When I finish my service representing the best people of the greatest state in the Union, I plan to return to the classroom and teach the best students in the state of Texas at Woodville High School. Mr. Chairman, that's my chairman. He's at Warren High School. Okay? All right. Unbelievably, I said all that to say this. I have not changed. But what has changed is a cadre of people around me. A few days ago, a gentleman in Trinity County reminded me of this. This person looked at me and said that he thought that I looked better in my photos online and on the campaign brochures than in person. Well, all of this is a tribute to Lee Miller and his NPR. Believe me, you don't want me planning your party, and tonight's event is a creation and presentation entirely attributable to Lee Miller and his team. Kelly, for instance, takes thousands of photos with Chuck's assistance. I still don't understand he stands over me with this foil. I don't know what that's about, but he does a good job doing it. Joyce Smith keeps my schedule full of great places to go and people to meet. And the person that gets everything done and does everything that is not done is Julian Henderson. I also want to thank Raging Elephants, Apostle Clayton, Joel Toth, and Kim Chambers have a heart for people. They have a passion to grow our conservative ranks among the people of color, not just for the cause of winning campaigns, but because they know that conservatism is the truest expression of the people, and that the best way to exalt the spirit of the soul of the individual. The encouragement, help, and camaraderie of Wayne Christian are an honor. Look here, a few months ago, another Republican leader that's helping us out, Representative Phil King of Weatherford, Texas, he called to express his support, and he gave me a lot of advice, and at one point he just stopped and said, is the incumbent, is that the one who lives outside of the district? And I replied to him, well, this is what I've been told, but I don't really know. Then King stated, why does he do that? Couldn't you just run on that issue? I stated, look, Phil, look, I guess I could bring that up, but I think people are more concerned with how they're going to keep their own house instead of wondering where Mac Reynolds is going to live or what county he's going to live in. Then I said, Phil, look, I can't blame the guy. He wants the best of all worlds. He wants to honor a servant of the Texas legislature, and he desires what most Texans have voted for over the last 3 decades. Principled, conservative, Republican representation like Wayne Christian. The only thing I told Phil, the only thing I just want to make sure that the good people in Angelina, Tyler, San Jacinto, and Trinity counties have the same opportunity. Good evening, my friend, and I cannot wait to serve with you in the Texas legislature. Many of you wonder how a black man, native of the concrete metropolis of Houston, arrives in East Texas, let alone contend for the state legislature as a Republican. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you on broad shoulders, male and female, black and white, generals and sergeants, educators, coaches, clergy, custodians. 2 role models in my life are George and Jethro White, my grandparents. Living most of their lives during a time when race could be an inhibiting factor in upward mobility, they are a testament of the principles and values that are the foundation of this nation. Between the both of them, they did not have a high school education, but they were a couple of faith, frugality, and hard work. They owned land in rural Texas. Despite their educational attainment, they still valued education and sent my father, my uncles and aunts to college, and that legacy of pursuing college scholarship remains today. Then, and most of us here tonight, would just say that my grandparents were just good old-fashioned country folks. However, those on the East Coast or the left coast would describe them as right-wing extremists. They valued the God-given right of property. And when I would visit them in the summers, I would see them work their cows at a young age. I would say, yes, I want to be a paratrooper. But in the end, I want to be like my grandparents, free. Owning your own land, minding your own business, and doing what you want to do. As a junior infantry officer serving our nation in Berlin, on very cold nights in the field, I often said, just wait until I get back to Texas and I will own some land just like my grandparents. They were the manifestation of the American dream, and they left it better than they found it. Without college degrees, but with godly wisdom, they left my dad and his siblings a legacy of property. My Republican development generally boils down to this: brains and beauty, for enterprise and genuineness. Someone asks, why Republican? And usually I just respond, Councilman Schenkel, faith, family, and freedom. In particular, one day I was watching TV and I saw this very attractive and smart African-American woman, Commissioner Kay Cole James. I believe at this time she was serving in the George H.W. Bush administration, after serving in the Reagan administration, and she would eventually serve in the George W. Bush administration. I said to myself, if women are smart, conservative, and attractive like that in the GOP, I know this is the right political party. And then there was Jack Kemp. And if anyone has ever had an opportunity to listen to Jack Kemp when he was still with us on this earth, even when you were broke, when he began his speeches on free enterprise and entrepreneurialism, and after finished speaking, you were still broke, but you felt like you had some money. According to Jack Kemp, he believed that his mission in life was developing more black millionaires. And I just wanted to know where you sign up.